The fifth edition of WCW's Halloween Havoc, live from the New Orleans Bayfront Arena, occurred in October 1993. Rick Rude defeated Ric Flair at Fall Brawl to win the WCW International World Championship, but Flair is back to regain his coveted title, while WCW champion, Big Van Vader squares off in a spin-the-wheel match against the deranged Cactus Jack. The bad blood between Sting and Sid Vicious began upon Sid's return at Slamboree, carried through War Games at Fall Brawl, and into a one-on-one matchup, as his partner, Davey Boy Smith, has his sights set on Lord Steven Regal's television championship. The Nasty Boys' brief reign as World Tag Team Champions was ended by Too Cold Scorpio and Marcus Alexander Bagwell. They look to regain those titles, while stunning Steve Austin gets a shot at the United States Championship held by Dustin Rhodes. The event opens with a six-man tag team match. Ice Train teams with the Shockmaster and Charlie Norris to take on Harlem Heat with the Equalizer. Cole of Harlem Heat and Ice Train begin the match, and Train asserts his power around the ring. Kane, Cole's Harlem Heat partner, comes into the match and experiences the same treatment. Kane attempts to drive Train into the corner, but Train successfully blocks it and tags Norris. Cole re-enters, but Charlie, Shockmaster, and Train all take their turns working on his arm. However, Kane delivers a knee to Train's back, while Harlem Heat executes a double team on him. When they tag in the Equalizer, he slows the pace of the match with numerous punches, kicks, and eye rakes. Train then retaliates with a facebuster and tags Norris. The Equalizer calls for the Shockmaster, who body slams him, while Train and Norris alternate attacking the Equalizer until he unexpectedly nails Norris with a boot and a clothesline. Following that, Kane comes back and somehow messes up a choke before Harlem Heat teams up against Norris. Cole performs an axe kick with a slight twist, but he fails to connect with a flying headbutt, prompting Charlie to tag the Shockmaster. Old Shocker clears the ring and ultimately traps Cole in a bear hug. He then transitions it into a spinebuster for the victory while the others engage in a brawl. The next match is scheduled to be between Ricky Steamboat and Yoshi Kwan, but Steamboat faces Paul Orndorff instead. They exchange blows and strikes before Steamboat catches Orndorff off guard with an O'Connor roll. Next, they brawl onto the floor and the ramp where Paul slams Steamboat down. Ricky recovers and attempts a flying crossbody back into the ring, but Orndorff evades him. Paul follows up with a suplex, but Steamboat counters with a Madère du Sidou and begins to work on his arm. He then halts an Orndorff comeback with a crossbody and starts driving Paul's arm into the post. He also slams Paul's shoulder into it and hurls him into the guardrail. Referee, Nick Patrick, and Steamboat exchange heated words, and Ricky threatens him before bringing Orndorff back into the ring. He secures Paul in an armbar and attempts to break his fingers, but Paul escapes. They brawl once more to the floor and the ramp, and Patrick has to physically hold Steamboat back, but this leaves him vulnerable to attack. Orndorff sends Ricky crashing over the guardrail and yanks his head across the ropes. They crash into each other on a double crossbody, but then Orndorff attempts to pin him while using the ropes for leverage. Patrick intervenes and Steamboat regains control. They continue to fight in and out of the ring, exchanging pin attempts, but the assassin begins to distract the referee. This prompts Steamboat to argue with Patrick again, and he shoves him, allowing Orndorff to throw Ricky over the ropes. The assassin then loads his mask and delivers a headbutt to Steamboat, leading to him being counted out for the defeat. In the third match, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith challenges Lord Steven Regal for the WCW Television Championship. They secure their positions, and Regal expresses dissatisfaction regarding Davey's baby oil, but ultimately, they exchange arm wringers. Both competitors roll and escape from the hold, with Davey even performing a front flip out of an arm drag. Following this, they take turns executing cartwheel reversals until Bulldog monkey flips Regal. He attempts another one, but Regal doesn't fully rotate. Davey regains his footing and tries for a surfboard stretch, yet Regal fights back fiercely against it. He ultimately secures the hold until Sir William diverts his attention. Regal launches an offensive and stifles a comeback with a knee strike followed by a Regal roll, somersault senton. He then constrains Davey with various mat holds until Bulldog manages to break free and delivers a sunset flip. Regal responds with powerful strikes and additional holds, trying to run down the remaining time. Bulldog continues to attempt to lift Regal onto his shoulders, but Regal utilizes the ropes to escape. With only seconds left, Davey attempts a few pinfalls and executes a running power slam. However, Regal manages to kick out at 2. Davey follows up with a pile driver, but the time runs out just before the 3 count. The United States title is on the line in the next contest. Dustin Rhodes defends his championship against Steve Austin. Austin annoys Dustin early on with a few slaps, and Rhodes pursues him around the ring. Dustin then counters a Boston Crab attempt, but Steve connects with an elbow and begins targeting Dustin's head and neck. Rhodes retaliates with a snapmare and a dropkick before Austin misses a knee in the corner and falls to the floor. He acts as if he injured his knee and limps back into the ring. Dustin focuses on Austin's leg until Steve rakes his eyes, leading Austin to return to attacking Dustin's head and neck. Rhodes attempts to bring Steve into the corner, but he transforms it into a knee drop, causing the match to turn into a brawl. Dustin successfully backdrops Austin and connects with a lariat for a near fall, but then Austin counters a bulldog attempt. Rhodes finds himself on the turnbuckles, prompting Austin to taunt him and push him down to the mat. Afterwards, both men begin exchanging hard punches and kicks as if they are enraged with one another. Rhodes prevents a stun gun, and they engage in pinning attempts back and forth. However, Austin tricks him outside and rolls him up with his feet on the ropes upon returning to the ring. Steve gets the 3 count, but Nick Patrick notices his feet on the ropes and nullifies the pin. Austin believes he has won and requests the belt, but Rhodes surprises him with a roll-up from behind for the true victory. After the match, Austin secures the belt and strikes Dustin. He then departs with it, while Nick Patrick assists Rhodes. Two Cold Scorpio and Marcus Alexander Bagwell took away the World Tag Team titles weeks before, and the Nasty Boys seek revenge in the next match. Sags and Bagwell begin, and the Nasties quickly double-team him. Nevertheless, Scorpio astonishes them with a flying crossbody and subsequently dives off Bagwell's back onto them as they regroup. Knobbs makes his return, and Scorpio executes a splash and a victory roll before Scorpio and Bagwell engage in some of their own double-teaming. They eliminate both Nasties, and Scorpio nearly messes up a springboard crossbody. Following this, he and Bagwell take their time with some arm work until the Nasties utilize a referee distraction to toss Bagwell over the ropes. Missy seizes the moment to deliver a powerful slap to Bagwell. The Nasties then target Bagwell's back for some time, and Sags connects with leg drops. They employ double teaming to prevent his comebacks and trap him in a bear hug. The referee overlooks a hot tag, but Bagwell eventually succeeds, and Scorpio clears the ring. He then performs a moonsault on Knobbs, but chaos ensues when Sags inadvertently strikes his partner. Missy and Teddy engage in a fight. Bagwell delivers a double noggin knocker to Missy and Sags, and Scorpio performs a 450 splash on Knobbs. However, Sags strikes Scorpio with his boot, and Knobbs places an arm on him to secure the victory. The Nasty Boys regain the Tag Team Championship. The bitter rivalry between Sid Vicious and Sting rages on in the next contest. Sid strikes right away, but Sting responds with a slam and a clothesline that pushes Sid to the apron. Sting then suplexes him back into the ring, but Sid recovers. Sting pursues and knocks Sid over the rail before they engage in a brawl in the crowd. They loop around and then fight over the rail again before heading back to the ring. Sting then executes a flying clothesline, but Sid escapes from the pin attempt. Next, Parker diverts Sting's attention, allowing Sid to deliver a chokeslam. Instead of going for a cover, he poses and then targets Sting's back. He even distracts the referee so that Parker can choke Sting with his handkerchief, which Parker uses to dab his forehead when the ref looks his way. Parker also reciprocates by distracting the ref again so that Sid can deliver a very weak chair shot to Sting. Sid then gradually weakens Sting's back. Sting attempts to retaliate, but Sid connects with a power slam and traps Sting in a bear hug. Sting breaks out a few times and starts banging Sid's head against the mat before delivering a facebuster. He follows up with 2 stinger splashes, but Parker once again distracts him. Sid quickly rises to his feet and charges, but Parker inadvertently grabs Sid's foot and restrains him for a pin attempt. Sid pushes Parker away and argues with him, providing Sting with a chance to roll Sid up for the victory. After the match, Parker attempts to justify his actions, but Sid is not interested in listening. Sid exits the ring and Parker trails behind, but Sid ignores him. Rick Rude defends the WCW International World title against former champion Ric Flair in the next match. Rude mocks Fifi, prompting Flair to retaliate with a backdrop. He follows this with a suplex in the corner clothesline, but Rude catches him off guard with a knee strike. Nonetheless, Rude fails to connect with a flying knee drop, allowing Flair to apply the figure 4 hold. Rude ultimately manages to reach the ropes, yet Flair persists in targeting his leg. He slams it into the post and continues his assault until Rude manages to push him out of the ring. Flair retaliates with a slingshot sunset flip, but Rude attempts to counter it by utilizing the ropes. Taylor observes this and intervenes. Flair responds with a crossbody that sends both competitors crashing to the floor, and Rude clips a chair during the fall. Following this, Flair executes a flying axe handle. He tries for another aerial attack, but Rude strikes him and attempts to grab a chair. Taylor prevents him from doing so. Nevertheless, Rude keeps the upper hand by slamming Flair into the guardrail and snapping him against the ropes. He then methodically works on Flair's back with rear chin locks and propels him into the corner for a Flair flip that accidentally takes out a cameraman. The back exploitation continues until Flair tries for a sleeper hold, and Rick lands the Rude Awakening on Rude. Unfortunately, Rude counters by raising his boot just as Flair leaps, flipping the script and sending him into Randy Anderson. Taylor enters the ring, but he also gets attacked, allowing Rude to grab brass knuckles. Flair ducks under and nails a back suplex before seizing the knuckles from a crew member. He strikes Rude and goes for the pin, but Randy Anderson prevents Taylor from counting. He asserts that he witnessed Flair using the knuckles and signals for the bell. After the match, Flair seizes the belt despite not being the victor, leading Rude to take Fifi. He attempts to carry her backstage, but Flair strikes and applies a figure 4 on the ramp. The officials intervene, enabling Rude to grab his belt and retreat. In the main event of Halloween Havoc 93, WCW World Champion Big Van Vader takes on Cactus Jack in a spin the wheel, make a deal match. When the wheel comes to a halt, it lands on a Texas death match. They exchange blows and Vader has already lost his mask. The two engage in a fight around the ringside area, and Jack makes use of both a chair and a fan's camera. He also grabs another chair that is dirty and corroded. Then, they continue to battle in and out of the ring again, and Jack executes a reversal on a suplex on the ramp. Jack prevents Harley from using a chair before he and Vader fight into an open grave on the Halloween-themed set. Both men come out, and Vader is bleeding as well. Jack follows this with a clothesline and secures the first pin. Vader gets up at 3 after the rest period, but Jack strikes him with a cactus prop and achieves another pin following a cactus elbow off the ramp. However, Vader quickly rises after the rest and pulls Cactus to the ground. They make their way back to the ring, and Cactus grabs a table before slamming Vader into it. The fight spills onto the floor again, and Cactus narrowly avoids being crushed by Vader after a botched sunset flip. However, Vader lifts Jack over the rail and attacks him with a chair, while the cameraman captures Harley tampering with a stun gun. Vader then brings Cactus back inside and gets a pin after a moonsault. Jack is up at 3, but Vader sends him crashing to the ramp. Cactus then leaps onto Vader's back, but he collapses with all of his weight onto Jack. He then follows up with a DDT onto a chair and secures another pin. Jack manages to stand before the rest period ends and lands his own DDT, but he falls onto the chair. Both men struggle to get to their feet, but Harley zaps Jack with the stun gun. The referee turns to see that Jack is still down, so he declares the match in favor of Vader. After the match, Cactus takes revenge by delivering a double-arm DDT to Harley and he shouts, "Bang bang." Vader seemingly abandons race to his fate, while the crowd chants for Cactus. After Halloween Havoc 93, Ricky Steamboat was unsuccessful in his bid to regain the WCW Television Championship against Lord Steven Regal, as another match ended in a time-limit draw at Starrcade. The Nasty Boys retained the World Tag Team titles for over 200 days before losing at Slamboree. Steve Austin continued his pursuit of Dustin Rhodes in his United States Championship until finally winning a best 2 out of 3 falls match at Starrcade, while Rick Rude defended and retained the WCW International World title until eventually succumbing to injury. After failing to regain the WCW International World title from Rude, Ric Flair found himself in line for a shot at Big Van Vader for the WCW World Championship. Vader continued his dominance, winning Battle Bowl and appearing completely unstoppable heading into his collision with Flair at Starrcade, where Flair would place his career on the line.